explore the work of visual artist Arnela Mahmutović. Paul Grondahl discusses the importance of the Writers Institute. And catch a performance from Carmen Lukshshire. It's all ahead on this episode of AHA, A House for Arts.
Funding for AHA has been provided by your contribution and by contributions to the WMHT Venture Fund. Contributors include the Leo Cox Beach Philanthropic Foundation, Chet and Karen Opalka, Robert and Doris Fisher-Melsardi, and the Robeson Family Foundation.
At M&T Bank, we understand that the vitality of our communities is crucial to our continued success. That's why we take an active role in our community. M&T Bank is pleased to support WMHT programming that highlights the arts, and we invite you to do the same.
I'm Jade Warwick, and this is AHA, A House for Arts, a place for all things creative. Here's Matt with today's Phil segment.
I'm in Albany, New York to visit with artist Arnela Mahmutović. Let's go.
I'm a first-generation Bosniak American, and my family came over about 23 years ago from Eastern Europe, specifically from a region called Sanjak, which borders a few countries. We essentially fled because that area and that region was not safe anymore. I spent most of my life kind of balancing these two parts of myself, and there's a lot of responsibility, I think, as a child of immigrants to, on one hand, preserve this culture and tradition that your parents carry, and on the other end, you are trying to assimilate and adapt to the world that's around you. And that definitely finds its way into the work, this dual identity, and trying to compare and contrast these two sides of myself. So I see my paintings as these products of a disjointed history. So most of them are compiled with multiple different elements that I source from a variety of places. And sometimes that can just be material alone. So I can try to pair, something very, very traditional and old, like oil painting, alongside a newer medium or maybe a new technique or approach. I also incorporate drawing a lot into my practice, and there's this contrast between the soft and slow active painting with this very fast, rigorous, and sort of agitated nature of drawing. And then on the other end, there's this imagery that I tried to pair to ultimately create some type of harmony, but most of the time it doesn't work because the images weren't found together and maybe aren't supposed to exist together. Some of that imagery is specifically pulled from Eastern miniature painting, Islamic manuscripts. So you'll find borders, pattern, this sort of collapsing of perspective alongside a very rendered and molded figure that maybe aligns more closely to Western rules and ideals within painting. Figure or figuration in my paintings is, I think, the core of it all. And I, of course, have fun thinking about pattern and color and composition. But without figure, I don't think I would enjoy painting as much as I do. For me, the body is the closest and most immediate way to translate a story. So no matter what the figure is, we immediately feel some type of closeness to it. Maybe the figure can act as a vessel for someone else to maybe place themselves in that environment. There's always this veiling that encapsulates them, and that veiling has a few different references. One is a more religious reference, and the other is that it acts as this anonymous barrier where you can't place the figures in a specific time. I like the fact that they feel like maybe they were created 100 years ago, or yesterday, or at some point in the future. for a while. I really didn't know how to identify, and I was really rejecting this traditional aspect of my life and really the Bosniak part of myself, because it didn't fit in anywhere. I mean, I ate different food, I had this other language I had to speak. There were rules and sort of regulations that my parents had in place, right, to sort of maintain some type of order for them, right? And it took a long time for me to make peace with the thought of them existing or coexisting with one another. And that really didn't happen until I found art and making as a way to deal with a lot of those difficulties. A recent piece that I'm working on centers food and the importance of food in, I think, many cultures, but specifically Bosniak American households, and how it acts as this connecting factor and a means for preservation. So when we think about families that were displaced or finding themselves in a new environment, food is a way to sort of transport them to something familiar and to pass it down. I think a lot of parents who move to another country have very, very high expectations of what their children will end up doing. So they kind of ideally would like for us to go into a medical field, maybe something that has money on the other side of it. And my parents were very skeptical at the beginning, but as soon as I started going to college, I think they noticed a shift or a change in me where it went from this frustrated teenager who was like rebelling and, I don't know, talking back, to a more level-headed person who found a goal, right? They found this structure in painting, in learning, and I think that spark in me is what helped them understand that this was important. I mean, and now it's just a part of my life. I think they are completely accepting, and maybe they don't understand everything. I don't think they get most of the paintings, that's totally fine, but I think they know that I have a deep, deep connection and love for the culture that I'm trying to get across somehow, and that means a lot to them. To be making images and art that can resonate with someone else who's either gone through the same journey that I have, or maybe is parallel to my journey, or is experiencing something similar, that's incredibly beautiful, and it's a privilege to be able to experience that through making.
The New York State Writers Institute was founded in 1983 by Pulitzer Prize-winning author William Kennedy. It has since hosted over 2,000 guests as part of its Visiting Writer series. Today, I'm excited to be joined by the Institute's Opalka Endowed Director, Paul Grondahl. Hi, Paul. Welcome to AHA.
Thank you, Jade. It's great to be here.
Awesome. Well, I'm excited to talk to you about not only the New York State Writers Institute, but to get to know a little bit more about yourself. To start, how did you get into journalism?
It's a weird story and a long story. I work with a lot of students in journalism classes, and I tell them up front, I'm honest, I never took a journalism class. I'm an English literature major, undergraduate, graduate school. I got used to rejection, which is a great part of the job as a journalist. I got rejected probably a couple hundred times when I sent out resumes to newspapers because I didn't have a journalism degree. I kept pestering the Albany Times-Union, and on my third try, the great, late, legendary editor, Harry Rosenfeld, gave me a shot. So I started on Night Police in 1984.
Awesome.
Long before you were born, I'm sure, Jade.
Just a little bit, just a little bit.
I'm going back to ancient history.
So what is a Night Police? Is that like a night crawler that
It's like a night crawler. You know, I was just out of graduate school. I had worked at my hometown newspaper in Tacoma, Washington through college. I'd work study, first generation college student, proud of that. So I had a little bit of skills, but I had not covered hard news. So they sit you near the police scanner, and nothing good happens, as you know, after 1 a.m. or 2 a.m., and it was always tragedy, shootings, fires, explosions. I remember on probably the third day I was there in 1984, in the summer, I started in August, got a call, and when you start hearing multi-company called in, emergency squads, you know it's bad. So it was out near Hoosick Falls, Route 7, convertible, young woman, 19 years old, carrying nieces, nephews, neighbors, bunch of little kids back from an ice cream thing, hit a tree at full speed. And you get out there, and they're picking up little children from a field. And you realize, you know, why are you there? To tell a story, but a horrific, sad human story. So the first thing I learned is to be a person, and the journalist with a capital J, second. And I've seen in so many scenes like that, no offense to TV people, but sometimes they come in with hot lights and a hot mic, and I would treat the way I would want to be treated at the worst moment. You know, I sat with families where their son or daughter was just bleeding out. I sat in kitchens with kids who had just overdosed. And when you see kind of the worst of humanity, but the beauty is it's the moment where they want to share the story of the loved one that they just lost in some horrible, traumatic way. And that gives you empathy, I think, and gives you an insight into the human condition. And then, you know, I've probably done 10,000 stories for the Times Union, and you try to leaven it up with happy ones. I know you're a happy person. When I see you, you're always smiling and laughing, so there's heavy parts, but you try to leaven it up with some fun stories, too.
So what does your work usually focus on? Like, what are your themes?
I like human interest stories, in particular people stories, you know, stories about like the underdog, someone overcoming a terrible illness, or from the ground up. I like people, you know, who are first generation college students came up the hard way. I like stories that sort of have an unexpected twist. So I also did long projects on domestic violence, homelessness, mental illness, prison issues. And you take on those big subjects and you sort of have to find real people. So it's always about the humanity, the real people behind it. And that's what I like about storytelling.
And do you think, like, your experience within being a night crawler with the night police, like, that kind of led you to being this more empathetic, you know, people first type of journalist?
Absolutely, because when you see people at their most vulnerable and after they've just experienced a trauma, you sort of realize that you're there first to do no harm. I mean, journalists do take a kind of Hippocratic oath. And the other thing that always stuck with me, even though I didn't take a journalism course, I sat next to really good journalists, really quality journalists, and I learned kind of an apprentice. And it was the saying, comfort the afflicted and afflict the comfortable. It's perfect advice. So we do a lot of investigative work, go after, you know, bad corporate entities or corrupt business people or corrupt politicians. That's a big part of journalism, too.
Yeah, and that's very important because journalists really do lead the way.
Yeah, the fourth estate, you know, we're supposed to be the voice and ears of the people. So I like to write about people that don't have a voice, kind of the voiceless, but we also like to hold accountable people with great power and people with great privilege. So it is an honor to be a journalist. That's why I still write a weekly column for the Times Union, even though it's been 6 years. I've been gone 6 years at the Writers Institute. So.
Oh, wow. Well,
yeah.
Thank you for doing the good work. And every journalist out there.
It is a pleasure. You know what I mean? I mean, it's storytelling. It's seeing really interesting people. People say, like, why don't you write about yourself? I said, I'm not that interesting. I'm average. There's so many more interesting people out there that have done beautiful things, you know?
Oh, cool. So I know you're the executive director of the New York State Writers Institute.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes. Just director. But I actually have a new title, the Opalka Endowed Director. Just in the last couple of weeks, it was announced that Chet and Karen Opalka, who are generous philanthropists specifically for the arts, endowed a directorship in my name, a $1 million directorship that will go to in perpetuity. So every year there will be money available to my successor and the next successor after me to fund really diverse, interesting program. So it's an endowment that never runs out, which is a beautiful thing.
That is amazing. Go Opalka.
They're wonderful people. So I am the Opalka Endowed Director.
Awesome.
Officially in the last 2 weeks, yes.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Well, so give us a little bit about the New York State Writers Institute for folks who don't know.
So we were founded, this was the big announcement 2 weeks ago, start of our 40th season. Chet and Karen Opalka were there. We announced this gift. It was just beautiful. But we're 40 years. We were founded by William Kennedy. He used some of his MacArthur Genius Grant money to fund. He always wanted to bring world-class writers in every genre from many countries to our campus and to Albany. And that's what we've done for 40 years. We've had over 2,500 writers, Nobel Prize winners, Pulitzer Prize winners, Booker Prize winners, the greatest writers in every genre and every kind of diversity you want to measure. So it's been a wonderful thing, and we keep it free and open to the public. It's generous people like Opalka's and our sponsors. We don't charge ticket prices, which you would find in most cities, like 92nd Street Y in New York City. Has a lot of the same authors, and it'll cost you a lot of money to go there. So we present this free and open to the public because of our sponsors. So it's a wonderful thing.
And very exciting. accessible.
Yes.
So why do you think the Writers Institute is important for the writers community, besides it being accessible?
So we also hold free workshops. We do them in person. We do them online now to be more accessible, to people. And we also have a film festival coming up on April 1st, open to young filmmakers. We do a short film competition. We have a special category for students, which we love to get students involved. We have a book festival. We have all the local writers come talk about their books, sell their books. So we really sort of cultivate, support, and enhance the local writing community. And they're invited and involved on every level of what we do, from volunteering to being on stage with our visiting writers, which is great fun.
That is.
Yeah.
And what's been your favorite event so far within your history of this?
We've done so many. I mean, one of the great events, I got to interview on stage Supreme Court Justice Sonia Sotomayor.
Oh, I love that.
And after about 3 minutes, she said, "Do you mind if I walk around?" I said, "You're the Supreme Court Justice. I'm not going to say no." She had a wireless mic. She walked all over Sefke Arena. There were like 5,000 people there. She was pausing for selfies, hugging people. I mean, a real pro. And there's been so many. I mean, Salman Rushdie, after the fatwa, so we waited 30 years to get him. Unfortunately, he got attacked, as you know. You know, this is serious what's going on. We're also doing sort of symposium looking at these divisive issues right now and the ugliness that's also part of our dialogue and conversation in this country. So we've also addressed a lot of that with attacks on the free press, people not being open and accepting of other viewpoints. So we've also brought in authors that talk about that as well.
Now, do you have any input within like attack on the free press? Because you're, everyone knows you're a journalist, so how do you handle that?
We've actually hosted 4 major symposia, the plural, telling the truth in a post-truth world. Started after President Trump was elected, what was going on with the press. I mean, he called the press the enemy of the people, and we don't take that lightly. I think he was serious, and a lot of people followed him in that thought.
It's terrifying.
So anyway, very terrifying. So we've had a succession of those, and most recently we looked at hacking, cyber wars, bots, and now with AI, the University at Albany, where the Writers Institute is based and where I also teach, they're going heavily into AI because that's also an incredible opportunity, but a scary opportunity in terms of personal freedom, civil liberties, surveillance, So the world's moving fast, and we try to address it at the Writers Institute, as well as time-honored classical poetry or literary fiction. We also address current issues with current books and the greatest experts on every topic.
Wow,
Yeah.
So there really is a little bit of something for everyone.
That's what we love that. We had Melissa Gilbert. She had a memoir, Little House on the Prairie. We had kids from 5 and seniors to 85 in that audience.
Wow.
And filled every seat in the house, 400 people. And so we also, we're not just all highbrow. We like to, when I started at the Times Union, this always stuck with me too. The old timers who'd been there for a while, they called me college boy because I had a graduate degree in English, which just doesn't really get you anywhere. You have to learn to be a reporter. But they called me college boy. They said, remember, the people who buy this paper, the ads that support it, 8th grade reading level on average. And I've never forgotten that. You can't forget, when you're on a college campus that you're on kind of a bubble. And there's a lot of people who are struggling, and I like telling those stories. I like seeing what they're, overcoming and dealing with. We talked about the underdog story. So I always kind of remembered that, PhDs in ivory tower is a small little slice of the world. It's a big world out there, and I try to reflect that in our stories, and we reflect that in what we program at the Writers Institute.
It's really a beautiful and amazing thing that you guys are doing. And how do folks and writers get involved with the Institute?
Well, we've got a really dynamic website, nyswritersinstitute.org, and you can follow us on all social media. We have 2 or 3 events some weeks, and we have a really busy schedule.
Well, thank you, Paul, and thank you for taking the
Jade.
time to talk to us today.
It's great.
I appreciate
You've been
it.
a lot of fun. Thank you.
Please welcome Carmen Lukshshire.
I feel helpless when you're not around. It's like music that doesn't make a sound. It's like mountains without trees, birds without bees. breeze. I'm helpless and hopelessly in love.
I miss your kisses, oh, and your gentle touch. When I'm around you, I get, oh, such a rush. It's like the mountains without trees, birds without the bees. I'm helpless and hopelessly in love. Why do I try to make it on my own? With you by my side, I know I can't go wrong. It's like the mountains without trees, birds without the bees. I'm helpless and hopelessly in love. I'm so lonesome without the scent of your perfume. My life is boring, oh, without you lying in my room. It's the things you do each day, they make me wanna say I'm just helpless and hopelessly in love. Why do I try to make it on my own? With you by my side, I know I can't go wrong. It's the things you do each day, oh, they make me wanna say I'm just helpless and hopelessly in love. Ba-doo-ba-doo-ba-ba, doo-ba-doo-ba-ba, ba-doo-ba-doo-ba, ba-doo-shoo-ba-doo-ba-ba. It's the things you do each day, oh, they make me wanna say I'm just helpless and hopelessly in love.
I'm so lonesome, lying here alone. Life is boring without the scent of your cologne. It's like mountains without trees, birds without the bees. I'm helpless and hopelessly in love.
Why do I try to make it on my own? With you by my side, I know I can't go wrong. It's like the mountains without trees, birds without the bees. I'm helpless and hopelessly in love.
So this next song is called Ruby Red. Everywhere we go, the men are coming up to Joe and saying, "Oh, what a beautiful guitar." So we decided we had to write a song about Miss Ruby here. This is called Ruby Red. These ruby red lips and high-heeled shoes, see you staring from across the room. You start to make your way over to me, and as they say, the rest is history. Smoky bar, he's taking draws on his cigar. Machinacious moves, someone singing the blues. Fitted dress, matching pearl necklace. She's a sight to see, and the fellas call her Ruby. She's a lady with a girlish physique, and she's likely to walk out. I'm sure that she'll walk with the last guy she meets. Never fall for a musician, you're always told. But when you get lonely, honey, who will you have to hold? She's a lady with a girlish physique, and she's likely to walk out. I'm sure that she'll walk with the last guy she meets. Oh, these ruby red lips and high-heeled shoes, see you staring from across the room. You start to make your way over to me, and as they say, the rest is history. She's a lady with a girlish physique, and she's likely to walk out. I'm sure that she'll walk with the last guy. Yeah, she's likely to walk out. I'm sure that she'll walk with the last guy. Oh, she's likely to walk out. I'm sure that she'll walk with the last guy she meets. This next song is our latest single, I'm Not Crazy. It's about narcissism and gaslighting and a toxic relationship. But it's also about strength and courage and knowing that you're not the crazy one. This is I'm Not Crazy.
Crazy, baby, until you make me crazy. You might say that I'm crazy, but you gon' see just how crazy I can be. Intuition tells me something ain't right, but you keep telling me everything's fine. I smell something that's not cologne. A different number lit up your phone. I'm not crazy, baby, until you make me crazy. You might say that I'm crazy, but you gon' see just how crazy I can be. Mind manipulation causing all this frustration. Don't think you can gaslight me, 'cause clear as day I can see that I'm not crazy, baby, until you make me crazy. You might say that I'm crazy, but you gon' see just how crazy I can be. You think you're smart with your tilted head and a smile. Yes, I'm crazy 'cause I care. I'm sick in the heart, but you're sick in the head. So maybe, baby, I'm not the one that's crazy. I'm not crazy, baby, until you make me crazy. You might say that I'm crazy, but you gon' see just how crazy I can be.
Thanks for joining us. For more arts, visit WMHT.org/aha and be sure to connect with us on social. I'm Jade Warwick, and thanks for watching.
Funding for AHA has been provided by your contribution and by contributions to the WMHT Venture Fund. Contributors include the Leo Cox Beach Philanthropic Foundation, Chet and Karen Opalka, Robert and Doris Fisher Melsardi, and the Robeson Family Foundation.
At M&T Bank, we understand that the vitality of our communities is crucial to our continued success. That's why we take an active role in our community. M&T Bank is pleased to support WMHT programming that highlights the arts, and we invite you to do the same.